Arch Manning will remain at Texas in 2026. This, according to one man that should absolutely positively know and close the book on the story of Arch Manning entering the NFL draft in 2026. What's up, kin folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a stat mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football. We talk football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think it's going to stick that Arch Manning will be back at Texas for what would be his last season as a college football player in 2026? We get this news out of a really good profile of Arch Manning in Texas Monthly by S.C. Gwynn, who wrote one of my favorite football books. It's called The Perfect Pass. It gets into Hal Mumme and Mike Leach and the air raid system. And it's a really great history of that offense. And it really touches out because you get to see just what Hal Mumme was able to do with this system and why it came into place, right? SC also wrote a kind of controversial book about Comanche. I think it's a very good read, but you can read about the controversy around it and make your own claims there. There's Comanche, Oklahoma, and it's not, I mean, that's really where Mickey Mantle comes from. And that's how I get in there. Plus, I write books that are historical, and I love this state, so I read it, and I would encourage you to do so as well. Good football books, I think I own like all of them because it's really difficult to find good literature that also is of the American football variety. S.C. Gwynn wrote one, so it does not shock me at all that Texas Monthly went with him to write this profile of Arch Manning. I thought perhaps Skip Hollingsworth would get the call on this. Skip Hollingsworth, who's done some fantastic work. Some of my favorite pieces of all time have come from Skip Hollingsworth at Texas Monthly. If you've heard or seen about Bernie or The Hitman, right? These are all stories that he uncovered and wrote about in Texas because if he's writing about it, it's good. That is on the level that S.C. Gwynn chooses to write at. I think that what we learned in this profile of Arch Manning, aside from the news that his grandfather, Archie, says he's not going to enter the NFL draft in 2026, he's going to come back to play at Texas, is just how the Mannings move in the world and what that means in the state of Texas and what that means for the University of Texas. Remember, this is a Louisiana family. This is a New Orleans family. This is a family that went to Ole Miss and then Tennessee and back to Ole Miss again, like Cooper, Archie, Eli, all Ole Miss. The only one of them that didn't go there until Arch went to Texas is Peyton Manning. All of them had great careers. Cooper Manning had his career cut short by, well, a life-threatening injury and then disease. But he raised this kid that is a wondrous talent, but he's more wondrous because he's so humble and chill. I think he's handled all of the attention that we give him with aplomb. Between how he has handled himself being his uncle's nephew, his grandfather's grandson, his dad's son, and how Shedeur Sanders has handled himself as his father's son, I could not be more impressed with the kind of integrity for which both of those dudes have been walking around. But now it is Arch Manning's time to really enter the spotlight. Like going in the SEC media days, he would tell anybody that would listen, look, I haven't done anything. He really hasn't. He's thrown 95 passes. But when he's been in games, he's been exciting. He threw for 300 yards against Mississippi State, which is Mississippi State still an SEC team. He came in relief of Quinn Ewers, who had a strained abdomen, and it was UTSA, but he went to work on them. 75-yard passing touchdown, 50-yard rushing touchdown, 60-yard passing touchdown. He's been efficient with the rock. His teammates love him. They want to play for him. And it's been very easy for him to work through being the quarterback at Texas because the Mannings have an advantage that many people don't. They don't need the money. They can choose whatever it is they want to do. And because they don't need the money, they get to act with a level of integrity that other people aspire to. One of my favorite movies to talk about in this context is The Gambler. Now, The Gambler as a movie and really as a book is not really that great. I would not advise you teach it. However, there is a scene where John Goodman's character, who's a loan shark, is talking to Mark Wahlberg's character, who's an English professor and a gambling degenerate. and he said, look, how far up were you? 2 million. How much you put away? Nothing. Anybody knows you get that far up, you put enough away to buy a house, you buy your car, you put the rest in a high-end investment fund, and then you use that to pay your taxes, and then nobody can touch you. You live at a position of F you. And that is the position that the Mannings occupy. They get to say, politely, no. That's what when we're saying F you. I don't have to do it, so I won't do it. Now, there is a way to do this with, gentleness and kindness and courteousness. And there's a way to do this that is mean and mean-spirited. But you'll hear it often. When you got enough money to just not have to do it, you can say that. But how you say that, how you portray yourself gives us an opportunity to either applaud you or tell you no. I mean, there's a difference between having, let's say, shut the F up money and quiet please money, to use that Chappelle joke, right? Like there's levels to this, and the money does matter for many. It just doesn't for them. And I think in a perfect world, most of us would like to move through it like this, but that's what it is. He does not have to enter the NFL draft. That's the point here. He doesn't. He can play college football. The last example I'll use for this that I think is worth pointing out, honestly, is Jason Reitman and his career. For those of y'all that don't know, Jason Reitman is an outstanding director. His first major motion picture was Up in the Air. It's got George Clooney and Anna Kendrick in it. And I like the movie. But he was able to go to a hotel room and basically live there for 2 weeks while he wrote that script. It is the kind of luxury that myself and other writers would dream about. And he could just go do it. But his father is also Ivan Reitman. And Ivan Reitman is a comedy genius. He gave us things like Ghostbusters, for instance. And those franchises live forever. So the residuals keep coming in. So by the time Jason Reitman got old enough to go to college and he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do, I think he thought he knew he wanted to be like his dad. He wanted to be a filmmaker. So he went to USC. And he was told by his father at the time, look, if you decide you don't want to go into, movie making, that's okay. If you decide you want to go dig holes, that's okay too. I want you to be happy. If you want to stay at USC for the rest of your life, just studying, going through it, that's okay too. And that was what Jason Reitman needed to hear. It's what many of us need to hear. I believe that there's genius in almost everybody. I genuinely do. Archie Manning is an athletic genius, and you see it with his size, with his speed, with his ability. It's hard to throw a football that far, that accurately. It's hard to run that fast. You cannot will yourself to being 6'4", 220 pounds. And you certainly can't afford to develop into the kind of person and athlete that he is without your family having some money enough to help you along the way. But it's not a lottery ticket for his family like it is for many, where you might be the first generation to go to college and the job might be get through these 3 years, get paid, get to the NFL as quickly as you can, and then reinvent generational wealth for your family. That's not what the Mannings have to do. And when I say genius is within everybody, what I often find myself asking is, who got to mess around and find out? Kurt Cobain, musical genius. It was bad before he got to, Courtney, before he got to Nirvana. He was just a guy with a guitar who needed to work part-time jobs and then eventually didn't have a job. And he got to sit on his girlfriend's couch for months, almost 2 years, just messing around, playing in the notebook, strumming this, strumming that. It's a controversial documentary, but I would say give it your time and montage a heck. And you get to see he got his gap years. He got to figure out, oh, this is how I do this. You'll see that with athletes who are given the time to just go run or lift. They don't have to worry about putting food on the table. They don't have to worry about whether the bills are getting paid. They get to just go train. Writers, like when they talk about going on retreats, it's not actually that glamorous. You are going into the woods and you are hoping to come out with a finished book. And you've earned that opportunity. You put away money, you put away time, you've accumulated PTO. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way. For me, I had to work through it. I've never actually been given the opportunity to disappear for 2 years to go chase whatever I think the genius is. And I think that is worth pointing out. You probably didn't either, for that matter. So be kind to yourself as we talk about Arch Manning. Be kind to yourself as we talk about Shedeur Sanders, as we talk about these athletes that are otherworldly, because that's what we believe they should be. But this is called adapt and respond. It's not called, look at all this time and money people carved out for me to achieve the highest level I possibly could in whatever pursuit it is. It's called get through the day. Find out what the plan is. If the plan gets broken, adapt and respond. It's going to be nice to see Arch Manning play 2 years of football. And I hope we get to see him at the peak of his powers, because Lord knows it's going to be a sight to behold if he could do that.